Yeah,
many
and
things.
let me ask you, if you were being paid, would you feel better about yourself if you were making what they call a minimum wage or what they call a livable wage?
Right. You're going to feel better as a livable wage.
Yeah.
Leave your blind obedience at the door. It's time for Carl and Mike.
Welcome to Carl and Mike. I'm Carl.
And I'm Mike.
And Mike, we are here
Yes.
at episode number 50. 50.
Congratulations. You know, that is kind of a milestone, I guess, for podcasters, isn't it?
I think episode 8 is a milestone for podcasters.
Really?
Yeah, I have a problem with iTunes. I went recently, looked up political humor to see what were the other, and then in the number one spot, when I looked up, searched political humor, the number one spot was a podcast that hasn't run in 5 years.
You're kidding.
Yeah, and it's in the number one spot when you search political humor on iTunes.
It hadn't been on in 5 years?
Yeah, I think they got to fix that because Carl and Mike should be number one.
iTunes, you got a problem.
So get together, iTunes.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, I thought. Well, there's so there's no weight on relevancy in terms of last recording. Anyway, 50. It's actually not really 50, because we got about 26 5Q5Ms. We've got a couple of threesomes and a couple of big Qs in there too.
It's gone by pretty fast. It's been interesting.
It hasn't even been a year yet.
No.
But here we are at 50. What's your favorite 50th?
Favorite 50th?
Out of the 50 episodes, do you have a favorite or one? I know Women and Knives, episode
Women
10.
and Knives.
Yes.
I don't know. That's a real good question.
I know what our audience
some of
is.
the little 5Qs, actually.
Yeah.
Those are fun to do.
Those are fun to do.
I like they're short, quick. They're fun to do. A lot of the questions are really stupid questions.
Yes.
And people like stupid questions. I still fucking don't get it.
Yeah.
But they do.
They do, don't they?
Yeah.
I can tell you what the audience is like. Well, obviously our first episode has got the most views, most downloads.
Just because it's been around.
I think that.
What was the first one called?
Welcome to Carl and Mike.
Oh, it was?
Oh.
Huh.
And I think people go to the first one to kind of see.
We got really creative with that one.
Yeah, we really did. To go see who we are and learn a little bit about what the show's about. I think that's the natural thing. Episode 9, Chunkin' Pumpkins. A very popular episode.
Really?
On Carl and Mike, yes.
That's kind of a... that whole idea of chunkin' pumpkins is really kind of a cool cult thing. I mean, it's not a cult thing. It's a subculture
it's a cultural thing. Yeah.
It's a subcult.
Yes.
Yeah, and what it is just a bunch of people getting together making machines that, flick pumpkins and see who can throw one the furthest with a trebuchet or a air gun or with a catapult and, or whatever.
Right.
Different creative ways to throw pumpkins.
Yeah, yeah.
And so they get together in this field. They watch each other test their equipment.
Yeah.
And drink beer.
There it is.
And probably eat whatever they eat wherever they do this. Where I can't even remember, somewhere in it looked their fields. Yeah, Pennsylvania. So there was something, whatever they eat up there at that time of year, they're eating that, but they're drinking beer. And it just looks like everybody's having a great time, Yeah. That would be a fun thing. It's kind of like, it's not like reenactors, but it's, I'm trying to think of another deal that people do like that.
Well, there's all sorts of things from the Renaissance fairs to Civil War reenactments to all sorts of stuff.
Well, but there's kind of a competitiveness about it.
Yeah.
Because you're going back from year to year and you've got these different people. So that's interesting that is a favorite. I would have never thought about that.
There's a bunch of favorites. I mean, there's a bunch of...
I don't even know why we started talking about... Oh, because I watched the show.
Yeah, that's right.
I just happened to watch the show and
I've noticed a lot of this, I think we've kind of mirrored what's happened in society over the last few months. A lot of stuff on race.
Yeah.
Our episode Black, White, and Blue comes to mind. Southern migrations.
A lot of it's topical with what's going on in the news, but a lot of it, some of it has just been stuff that we watch on TV. It's like, I forget what channel it was. I watched I think I was telling you about that program I watch about Mark Maron.
Yeah.
And I guess he's got the biggest podcast, and probably rightfully so.
Right.
You know, and
I listened to his Obama
I can't
interview.
even fucking imagine the bump that he got off the Obama deal.
Yeah.
Like he really needed it to begin with. But anyway, it was interesting listening to him talk and open up about his life, and because he just wasn't making it as a comic.
Right.
He was really
second or third tier comic.
Yeah, a second or third tier comic, and he was real pissed off.
Right.
And
about
angry.
being a second and third tier.
Well, just his act was that
Right.
way, and
Yes.
I think he was pissed off about that and frustrated, and that frustration and
Gone into his
pissed
act.
offedness.
Right.
Is that a word? Pissed offedness.
It is now.
Yes.
We've come up with a few words.
We've come up with few words. Okay, yeah, the
stuff.
pussification.
But
Well, pussification was actually George Carlin's the first time I had heard it.
Yeah. That's
And-
episode 4.
Yeah,
Pussification
yeah,
Rules. One
yeah,
of my favorites.
Huh?
Or episode 3.
Yeah,
It's right in there.
I kind of liked it. We haven't talked about pussification in a long time. We got a interesting comment from an ex-girlfriend about the word pussification. She took great offense at it because it referred to a portion of the female anatomy. I don't think she really got the whole concept of pussification, but she talked to some friends of hers that kind of reinforced her thoughts about that. But
It's interesting about being offended. The things that offend me are more actions. If someone, I read something about someone who abused somebody.
Yeah.
That offends me.
Yes.
A particular
yes.
word, like a comic says something stupid or whatever. I don't.
Well, that's the way we raised the kids that way. We told them, we said, we're not going to be offended by words.
Be offended by action.
Be offended by action. So I'm more offended by you calling somebody stupid than you saying the word shit or fuck.
Right.
Because in saying stupid, you are belittling somebody else, and
actions are more offensive.
which we've probably done on this show. Actually, we have belittled. Yeah.
Some Republicans would say yes.
Yes.
God
the
darn
Donald,
it.
the Donald,
Donald
would probably
definitely,
not,
the brilliant buffoon episode.
Yeah,
probably would not like that.
No, actually, I think he would. We're not the first
Here's
person
the
to
thing.
use the word buffoon. We may be the first person to say brilliant, because honestly, the way he is using the media and the systems that are set up to pick a president, and the way they limit how they talk, and the media is just like giving him all this airtime, and all he's got to do, he's like flying down to the border today.
Right. But, Donald's, and this is the last thing I want to say about Donald, because we got other things to talk about, but
No, it won't be.
I've noticed the Donald, his character flaw that's going to, I don't know if he makes it to the Republican debates. He may leave the Republican Party before the debate. The thing is, if someone attacks him, he just attacks back.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He just has no ability not
Oh,
to.
yeah. Yeah.
And it's real. That's just his. I don't know if it's his New Jerseyness or just his Donaldness, but if he perceives he's been slighted,
He's going to go back.
he'll go
after him.
back at you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and releasing Lindsey Graham's cell phone number. Yeah, imagine if somebody released your cell phone number. All you got one, but all of a sudden your cell
basically have
phone
to get a
number
new
became.
phone.
Yeah, you'd have to get a new cell. It's not the new cell phone. You'd have to get the new number, which
Right.
everybody has your number. So
It's a pain in the ass.
then you would have to contact and let everybody know that you've.
I don't know. Does Lindsey Graham got a lot of friends?
Huh?
Does Lindsey Graham?
Well,
have-
yeah. I mean,
no, it was a childish, and it's just really dysfunctional.
But again,
But entertaining
brilliant,
as all hell.
and brilliant as shit.
Brilliantly buffoon.
Oh yeah.
So we covered the
Something we
Donalds.
haven't seen before.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, so the episodes have been real interesting. I mean, they
the
really
other thing
have.
I think that I've noticed, because we've recently now, of course, we're exploring running for president, and you can see there's a lot of episodes that cover really what our campaign would be about: income inequality for
Yeah.
all episode. We bring that into our "Damn That Makes Sense" platform for America. Walmartization, that episode. We talk about a lot of the stuff we've talked about in these 50 episodes. Really form the basis of this
We're just
campaign.
talking about what we think and what we believe,
Right.
and what we, and a lot of what we're talking is just common sense. what we think of as common sense, or just treating people the way you want to be treated. You know, that good old golden rule.
Golden rule.
That everybody's so hot about talking about, but not following.
Simplicity, getting things simple, common sense, and golden rule. I think those are the three pillars on which this thing would be formed.
Yeah.
Simplicity out of our, whether it be out of our taxes, about issues.
Yeah.
I mean, because you're right, a lot of crap is hidden in complexity.
Yeah.
Across the board, a lot of bullshit is hidden.
Law firms, lobbyists.
Yeah.
That's their world, complexity.
I agree.
Those two people.
So
mainly.
maybe we should talk a little bit, because we haven't really done it yet. But maybe go a little bit more into what this campaign is about.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 3 areas: foreign policy-wise, economic, and social domestic issues.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think I'd like to. You know, we've talked about one of the areas. I think somebody asked me the other day, well, why don't you just vote for Bernie Sanders? Aren't you guys Bernie Sanders? Or doesn't Bernie take well, he said actually, looks like Bernie took a lot of your ideas. I don't know. I think one area that we may be different from Bernie.
Bernie's stealing our ideas?
Damn that Bernie.
Damn you, Bernie.
Yeah, he's stealing our
No
ideas.
soup for you.
No soup for Bernie.
Into the line.
He was here in Dallas.
Who, the soup Nazi?
Bernie.
Oh, he was. That's right. He
Did
had
about
like
8,000 people.
How do you find out that the guy's going to be in town early enough to go?
You just kind of have your.
We need to go to some political rallies.
We should have seen Bernie
idiots,
when he was here.
all these people are going to be in town.
Yeah.
We ought to go. Have you ever been to a political? Well, you've been to them in Iowa.
Ross Perot.
Yeah, I did.
I went to Obama and Romney events.
Yeah.
So you've never been to a political event?
No.
Ever?
Well, I was in the same room as Ford, which means like everybody was asleep. You know. It was, it wasn't. He wasn't running for president or anything. He was just. I don't think he was just there, and it was kind of It was a real weird kind of magnetic thing. But I would like to.
Suzanne worked for the Jimmy Carter.
Did she really?
Yeah. I went. I haven't. Haven't gone to a lot of political rallies, but.
Well,
Ross
see,
Perot was my
you people
first.
in Iowa, you kind of make up your own mind and talk to different people. We down here in Texas, we just do what we're told.
Pretty much. You pretty much do Republican.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
So
All right,
anyway.
we digressed again.
Yeah.
What should we do on this show?
Yeah.
When we haven't. If you're a new listener, welcome to Carl and Mike. And if you're an old listener, I don't need to tell you.
Yeah.
We go off topic.
Yeah.
Moving back. So let's talk about. I think one area that we're probably different from Bernie is around taxes.
Yeah.
You know, so basically, what we're proposing is kind of a flat tax,
Yeah,
which
it's a
has been
flat
very
tax.
popular in Republican land.
Yeah.
I remember, was it Steve Forbes?
Yeah.
Did a flat tax.
And when we're talking flat tax, we're talking flat tax. As far as what the exact percentage is, don't know yet. That's to be
we're saying
determined. That's to
10%
be determined.
from a timing.
10%,
I like
whatever.
10,
Yeah.
Herman
And-
Cain had 9%.
Yeah, 9%. Everybody's got a percentage, so that's the negotiating thing. That is the only thing that's negotiable on this. Because
Okay.
once you say flat tax, right?
Right. Before you pigeonhole us on this, the reason, one, flat tax creates simplicity and ends loopholes. So that's number one thing I like about flat tax. The argument against flat
No
tax.
loopholes, no deductions.
Argument against flat tax is it's a tax on the poor. Okay, but what we're suggesting in conjunction with the flat tax is that if you're a full-time worker, you are making a livable wage. Okay, so we're talking way beyond raising the minimum wage. This is turning it into a livable wage. There's two things about a livable wage that I think is really important. Number one, people not on a livable wage are being supported in one way or another by the government. Food stamps, welfare, you name it. Okay, so it gets the government out of subsidizing businesses, because if I'm paying for some of the expenses for your employee,
Yes.
then I am subsidizing you as a business, right? So that's number one. Number two, if everybody's on a livable wage and then everybody's paying taxes, it's going to increase the tax revenue, and there's no loopholes. It's going to increase the tax revenue.
Yeah, no
across the
loopholes,
board.
no deductions. And here's the beautiful part that I like about this. It shuts all those motherfuckers up that say some people are not paying taxes. No, everybody's going to be paying taxes.
That's
So
bullshit
just
anyway,
shut
because
the
people
fuck
pay
up.
taxes called sales tax.
Yeah.
Every time they buy something, they pay tax.
I know, but they're thinking income tax,
Right.
and so everybody's going to be paying income tax. But
Right.
they are going to be making a livable wage. This whole idea, we need to take the whole minimum wage thing and bury it.
Yeah.
You know where we could bury
The
it?
minimum wage now becomes a livable wage.
You know
And
where
there's
we
a
could
livable wage standard. Where can we bury
The
minimum wage?
minimum wage thing goes to the same place as the fucking Confederate flag. It's out of here.
There you go.
It is out of here. Stick
Yeah.
it in a museum someplace. Hey, they used to talk about. We don't talk about that anymore.
I would be open to, if you're under 18, having whatever we consider the minimum wage.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. I think livable wage is where it's at.
Yeah.
Live at a livable wage means that you can live, and you can live without government support. Really. The second big scream I'm going to hear, I imagine that we would hear around the livable wage is, oh my God, it's going to raise prices. Going to raise prices, America. Going to raise
That's the
prices.
fear. That's the fear.
So here's a couple points on that. We have a thing called capitalism, and capitalism will set the price. Okay, the company's going to have to decide: do we want to pay the Waltons $30 billion this year, or whatever they're paying these 4 members of the family, or do we want to keep our prices lower? That'll be a decision.
Yeah.
They want to keep. If a company wants to keep paying their CEOs at a 475-to-1 ratio, which is the average ratio for CEO pay to worker pay, they can do that,
in the
and then
United
they'll
States,
have to rate.
is that oh, and that happened. Oh, that's right.
475 to 1.
That's right. And then
Right?
we happen to be
Canada's like 11.
Or so we're the highest in the
Oh,
world.
like the second highest is like 20 to 1.
Oh, there you go. So
we
it's
are
not even on the same
475.
planet.
So
Okay.
you know what? They're going to have to decide. The company will have to decide: do we raise prices, or do we lower the bonuses to our one person, to our CEO or our board of directors or whatever? Yeah. So maybe that'll be up to them, and the market will decide. And you know what? Some companies will decide not to pay their CEOs at a 475 to 1 ratio, and they won't lower prices, and we'll let the price thing work. But the second thing around it is, if everybody's on a livable wage, people are paying taxes, people are buying goods and services, and that's going to help the health of the economy.
Yeah.
This trickle-down mentality that somehow which has been proven wrong, that the Republicans have argued for such a long time, isn't real.
Yeah.
So I think that forms the cornerstone of our economic
Well,
policy.
and the other thing is, when you hear the powers that be, meaning corporate America, start going, oh, God, we're going to be having to lay people out of work. Just remember what
That's
they're
a
doing.
choice.
Well, it's a choice, but they're also trying to scare the population into
Yes.
not supporting. So they use fear
Yeah, that's absolutely correct.
to drive away support.
Right. You do this, I'm going to fire your ass.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They did that whether it was a union,
Yeah.
right, or
right.
anybody else.
Right. And so that's
and Republicans would be,
Right.
and these guys, you got to remember, especially the Republicans, but even the Democrats, the millionaire Congress, the millionaires Congress that we have will scream bloody murder about protecting the people, but they're not protecting the people.
Right.
They're protecting the system
Yeah.
that has created the largest wage gap in the history of mankind, I think, at this
which
point.
they're actually protecting their income stream.
Right. They're protecting their donors.
It's always about follow the money,
Follow the money.
understand what they're doing with the fear,
Yeah.
and then just
you-
pay attention.
And if you need an example of that, just look at the screaming about minimum wage. Just around minimum wage. So you got, again, I love that cartoon, the guy standing on a giant pile of money and a person with standing on $1, and they're yelling down at them, you're ruining the economy,
Yeah.
because they want to raise minimum wage.
Yeah.
America collectively is going to have to take a big step into fear, because the fear is going to be loud, and it's fear. It's false evidence appearing real. It's not
Walk
real.
through it.
You're gonna have
Walk
to.
through
We're going
it.
to have to collectively walk
through it.
Right.
Walking
on.
through fear. Walk through fear.
Walk through the fear. What are you thinking again?
We have an episode
No,
name.
we got so many damn
No.
fear episode titles, and they all show up low in the download.
Oh, do they really? Okay.
You had fear in there. Fear of the other, our lowest episode.
Really? That's
One of our
interesting.
lowest. Fear,
Okay.
Foundations of Fear actually is doing all right.
Yeah.
But they're going to have to walk through the fear.
Yeah.
right? Because at the boogeyman,
Well, foundations of fear is what we're
on
talking
the other
about
side,
here.
if you made a livable wage for every worker, yeah, there's going to be there going to be choices companies going to have to make on that pay scale ratio, and for all you Republicans out there, it's going to get the government out of subsidizing companies' employees.
Well, they want it. Yes.
Because Walmart's got a sweet deal.
Yeah,
Walmart is the number one employer. What a sweet deal. You're going to pay employees low wages, so low that the government...
That they have to get government assistance to live.
So the government's really helping pay the wages for Walmart workers.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yes, it is.
I don't know. And no, that's not insane. They actually pulled that off. What's insane is Republican voters supporting that.
And bitching about people
Who
getting
are
government
about-
assistance.
Yes, and at the same time bitching about it. They're bitching to the wrong people. They're bitching to the
Yeah.
It's not the government's fault. It's the company's fault.
Yeah.
So we're going to fix that in a Carl and Mike administration, and that really forms I think the core of.
Yeah,
It's a trickle. It's not a trickle down. It's a lifting up.
Yeah, don't listen to what they're saying. We've got a couple here at the restaurant who, he's working 3 jobs, managing the place here. He's working on cleaning up offices during the weekend or cleaning something.
Yeah.
They've got a baby. He's going to school.
This is America here.
It's America, and
the average age of minimum wage is 35.
Yeah, and they're still trying, and she's working too, and they're still trying to make it, and they've got a dream. That's why he's in school. They got a dream. Anyway.
Livable wage.
Yes. Anyway, okay.
And everybody pays taxes. We pick 10% because, for our Christian conservatives, 10% is tithing.
Ooh.
We're going to 10% tithe, 10% to the government.
Just like you tithe at your church, people were, yes.
And speaking of tithing,
taxing is tithing. Tithing is taxes. Well, the difference between taxes and tithing is tithing is something you give voluntarily, and taxing is something that they take out. So it's not exactly the same thing, but it is
there's
supporting.
a power in taking 10%.
Yes.
So we pick 10%. Maybe somebody will do the numbers for us, and if it turns out it should be better at 12%, we'll figure out the mark. The more controversial aspect to some people, not to me, is that we also are going to tax churches at 10%.
Oh, I like it.
Okay, we're done with the tax exempt churches.
Right.
And you're going to pay taxes like everybody else.
We're
going to do something special for you.
Yeah.
We're going to take the money from churches that are collected, 10%, and we're going to give it to programs that aid the poor here in the United States.
And let you help direct that. So you're still using your money for what you profess it's to be used for, which is helping the poor.
Yes.
But it's going to be helping the poor here. Within the confines of the 50 states.
Because not really helping the poor in Africa, which is kind of a marketing. It's a marketing ploy. And I know a little bit about marketing. Okay, so I go to Africa, and I bring food, but I also bring the Bibles. So I'm going to give you something to eat, and I'm going to teach you about Jesus Christ.
I'm going to give you a little something, but
and then
you got to sing
get...
for your dinner.
That's right.
Oh.
I don't like that.
No.
That's called marketing.
Yeah.
That's just the food is just an expense, a marketing expense.
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to keep it directed towards the poor here in the United States.
Yeah.
And so people go screaming about separation of church and state and all that kind of stuff. That was a sweet little deal.
Yeah. Let's help folks at home.
Yeah. But the idea, when I look at aerial, I saw an aerial shot the other day of Joel Osteen's home. This just giant mega mansion. There's just something unseemly about
a man of God living in a place like that.
And maybe I need to change my thinking around that.
No, you don't, because here's a man of God living in a place like that.
Why
that's
should
probably
man
got servants working for him. And Jesus, what did he do? He slept outside underneath the trees on probably a mat.
Yeah.
Maybe if he's lucky, he got a bale of hay.
I know, but
or sleeping in somebody, So
I go back and forth. I mean, we have to look. Are we being
what?
So Matt, you're saying priests or anyone in the religious faith should live modestly?
No. I'm saying realistically. I'm saying Joel Osteen is living like these corporate guys that are making 400 and some odd times the low employee.
He does.
And he's living
but he
just
generates
like
that kind of income.
Well, I don't give a shit if he does. I'm talking to the church members now. Think of what else you could do if he cut his salary by half. Then you got half that money that you could then direct at.
But you think of all
Food
this money
banks or
being
whatever.
directed towards what? What is the? I mean, it's like these giant football stadiums. It's really turned into a large corporation
Yes.
religion.
Yep.
So they
Yep.
should be taxed.
Yep. Yeah, they're taxed.
I'm sorry, this isn't. We're not.
Yeah. So it's real simple. A set tax rate to be determined.
We're saying 10% on the
Yeah.
principle of tithing.
Yeah, and no deductions,
No deductions. No Mitt Romney money in the Cayman
no
Islands.
loopholes.
That's another thing. There's no hiding money abroad.
In fact, the tax forms, I can't imagine them being
A
any
postcard.
more than a page.
So-
Something you can figure out yourself. You know how much money you're spending on accountants, or how much
So there will be an
time
accountant
you're spending,
drop-off, yes.
how much time you're spending saving all these various kinds of receipts.
Right.
You don't have to fuck with that shit anymore.
Right.
This is like simple kind of crap. That's the kind of simplicity we're talking about. I can't imagine anybody not being in favor.
We're
of
also taking this simplicity to business. And on business, we're recommending a 15% flat tax across
Yeah.
the board, which is a dramatic decrease. Another thing probably Bernie Sanders would not be for. Republicans have argued for lowering the business tax rate.
Yeah.
So we're going to go there. We're going to lower the
Yep.
to 15%. And the reason we go low on the 10% taxes and the 15% for business is because there's no loopholes and exemptions.
that. No.
Apple Computers, the most richest company in America, in the world right now, has, I think, $100 billion or more parked over in Ireland or some tax haven that they can't bring here because they don't want to pay the taxes. Well, we're cutting that loophole out. If Apple Computers makes money, whatever money they make is taxed. 15%. No loopholes. No exemptions. The money in Ireland's getting taxed. I don't care where the money is. You put it in the Cayman. If you're an American company, you're being taxed 15% on your earnings wherever. Period. End of story. No exemptions. No loopholes. No Mitt Romney Cayman Island deals. 15%.
And that tax money will be used to.
Be used to all sorts of things. Because all right, we're going to lower the tax rate, but in essence, you're going to find out. And if you hear rich people or corporations bitch about paying 15%, then here's what you need to do. This is really simple, folks. This is where simple. Remember, we said simple, common sense, golden rule. If a company, a candidate, a rich individual bitches about 15%, no exemptions, that means they're not paying 15%. They're paying lower than 15%.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're not paying that 25, 35% that they're bitch about because they should be singing the praises. They should be, come to Jesus. Apple Computer should be
Yeah.
happy as hell
That
to
would
pay
be
15%
That would
if
be
that's
correct.
indeed what they're paying.
That would be correct.
So anybody who bitches about it isn't
Obviously was
paying
paying-
less.
Yeah.
Can we keep this obvious simplicity of
Yeah.
it? So
I
that
like that.
we believe with the no exemptions rules, the fairness of it, the common sense of it, we will have more money in the coffers than we have currently from our taxation. And everybody making a livable wage, going to help the economy just.
And we can quit
well,
talking about this shit.
All of it,
Everybody's,
yes.
just
This
quit
is
talking about it.
simple
Everybody
stuff.
bitches about we're tired of talking about it. We're tired of talking about it either.
Yeah.
Fix it,
What
make
we're
it simple,
talking-
and shut the fuck up.
The reason we're talking about it is because the system has made it so fucking complex
Yeah.
and unfair.
And in those complexities are hidden the exemptions and loopholes.
Right. CEOs didn't get
Complexities.
CEOs
Ooh.
didn't get to a 475 to 1 ratio without the complexities.
Yeah.
The rich don't get super rich. The 1%, which owns 90% of the wealth in this country, did not get there without complexities.
No, and if you look at the way people get paid, when we talk about Les Moonves at CBS and the amount of money that he made.
Briefcase with shame.
Yeah,
one of my
he
favorites.
made something like $57 million. Well, they're not writing that out. They're not dividing by that by 12, and that's what he gets per month. Oh no, he's got a certain salary, but the bulk of that stuff comes in stocks and stock options and all this other kind of bullshit that's written into the tax laws that he pays less money on.
Yes.
So it's not as it's his compensate. Here, I love this word.
Compensation package?
Yeah, you wordsmiths. I hate you fuckers with this shit.
Huh?
It's not a salary, it's compensation. It's his compensation package.
Look, you want a bigger word. Compensation. Think about it. It has several syllables. Salary.
It kind of makes
when
my...
you know what? Salary. You got wage, right?
Yeah, I know, but when I hear
wage,
that-
one syllable word.
Yeah.
Who wants to be wage? Salary.
Yeah.
Sounds better than a wage.
Well, that's a white-collar
You're being
thing.
paid more on a salary.
Well, now that's
than
true.
you are on a wage.
Wages
But
are...
compensation, baby.
Compensation package. Oh, yeah.
Really
package.
beats salary. It's a
I know, but when I hear shit like that, my ass twitches. And because that's what it is. That's where the complexities lie.
We've
We're
taken
gonna
it
take
from
that shit
4
out of it.
letters, wage.
Yeah.
We've brought it all the way up to compensation package.
Ooh.
And I'm sure there's even a more corporate-like word
Oh, yeah.
that we're not even talking about. So there you have it. But don't forget, everyone's making livable wage. And I think that's where the power of this to the economy is going to boom. Because people are buying more goods and services. There's so many, from a business standpoint, there's so many people priced out of the market on things. Right?
Yes.
People are having a livable wage. I mean, it's just going to change. So
Yeah,
many
and
things.
let me ask you, if you were being paid, would you feel better about yourself if you were making what they call a minimum wage or what they call a livable wage?
Right. You're going to feel better as a livable wage.
Yeah.
You're going to be able to feed your kids and do these things
Yeah.
and not need government handouts. Because here's the other dirty little lie Republicans
People who make
tell.
livable wages contribute.
Right. The dirty little lie that, especially coming out of the Republican camp, is that people are just thrilled about are just lazy and just want to get the money.
Yeah.
Right. Want to get
Yeah.
the food stamps. They're happy
Yeah.
on that. Most people do not want to be on food stamps.
No.
Most people do not
No.
want to be living on poverty level.
There's two things that I want you to think about and to keep in mind. The way the powers that be use fear and complexity to manipulate the masses.
Right.
Fear and complexity to manipulate the masses. People have used fear throughout history to manipulate masses.
Yeah.
Hitler used fear.
Yes. So let me tell you, folks, if you're making under $50,000 and you're not voting for Carl Mike, you are voting against your interests.
Yep.
Seriously. You just remember that. So they will use social issues to get you riled up on fear while they take
We
the
really
money out
don't
of your
have to
pocket.
talk about that one anymore.
We don't
do we?
have-
No,
yeah, that
see,
wedge issue
that's
is
what we're
gone.
talking about. That take those
fear is
wedge
gone.
issues are those fears and concerns are gone, except for the crazy fringe elements, and they're always going to be there. You know, and you can't deal with them. You're not going to get. We don't want their vote. They're not going to vote for us. We don't want their vote.
Right.
We don't want support of crazy fringe groups.
Right.
We just want common sense, everyday people.
Yes, which is the vast majority of American people are very common
That's
sense.
right. And those common sense, everyday people are the mass in the middle, the middle mass that everybody's fighting over. The crazies on the right, crazies on the left. They'll never vote one side or the other, but the mass in the middle,
Right.
the middle mass, the bulge.
You had to go there,
It
didn't you?
is the bulge, yes.
Yeah, I agree, and that's the vast majority. Mm-hmm. You know, the other thing I want to say about fear, just remember, I'm going to say 90% of the time, when someone's giving you some fear out of their mouths, they watch their hands because their other hand's going right into your pocket.
Ooh, it is.
Okay, religion, the more damnation, the more reason you need to support the church. Okay, from Jerry Falwell to corporate America, the ones yelling, the ones trying to scare you the most. I guarantee you, especially in the political, religious world out there, there's a hand in your pocket at the same time that's happening. So just know that.
Yeah.
You're getting fleeced on that.
Watch out for those
Fear.
black helicopters. Watch out for those hordes coming across the border.
Yeah.
Watch out for those people trying to take away, degrade your
Watch out for the guys
God-given
trying to
right
take
to
your
marriage.
guns and- yes.
One man, one woman.
Watch out. Yeah.
that's-
And support the cause.
Support the cause.
Or support this war industry. Or
Yeah.
support this.
If you're really concerned
support
about
the
this,
corporate. Yes. Minimum wage. The wage standards we're living on for the last 30, 40 years. Got to do that, man. Or we're all going to lose our jobs.
Yeah.
America's going to go poor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who's saying that? Where's the money?
Well, they're really saying you're going to lose your
Yeah.
jobs.
Yeah. What they're
They
really
didn't say we're going to lose.
But if they were
our
saying
jobs.
the
You're
truth,
gonna-
what they were saying is we're going to need to make less money
Yeah.
to compete
Yeah.
in that America.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. There it
There
is.
you
If you
go.
like what you see, if you like what you heard today, not see because we're on a podcast, but
We
you
are.
can see us on 5 Questions in 5 Minutes
Yeah.
with Carl and Mike, where we have a whole series. Probably not as a deep dive, would you want to say?
No.
But if you like what you're hearing, go to isupportcarlandmike.net. isupportcarlandmike.net. We have a Patreon page there, which is kind of like Patron of the Arts. We have all sorts of different levels of financial support because we're going to need to, if we want to take this from a exploration to a full-fledged campaign where we have lights shining on this and awareness being brought to this and getting people talking about it, we need your support to do that. So isupportcarlandmike.net. Anything else?
Yeah, no, just whatever. Just send in whatever it costs for a
Latte.
medium frapp or grande frappuccino every week. Send it to us. Okay, you do one less.
Have a
Hey,
coffee.
Have a
Yeah.
coffee. Yeah.
We also have damnthatmakessense.com, where right now we have our belief manifesto. The next thing we're going to be putting up there are the kind of 3 or 4 specific proposals around each of those beliefs.
Yep.
And tune in. It's the next episode of Carl and Mike, where we will go over, maybe we'll do foreign policy next, or we'll do healthcare, we'll do
something.
there's lots to talk about.
Yeah.
And so 50 in the bag. You ready for the next 50? Who would have thought when we started
Yes.
that on the 50th episode we'd be talking about running for president of the United States? Did not see that one coming.
No, did not. Didn't know how easy it is. Didn't know how low the threshold is to get in, folks.
It's
Listen to
$5,000. You need $5,000.
Well, it's not even that. I mean,
you don't even need a photo ID.
No. Yeah, I mean, if you no.
So we don't need.
You don't need a
we don't
photo
need to show
ID.
our birth certificate.
No.
You got to prove you're American citizen.
At some point, you probably do, but that's not you to do the forms and stuff. No, fill out a couple of forms, send them into the FEC. They put you on the list. Last time I checked, there was 451 people running for president. I'm sure there's more now because that was a week and a half ago. So yeah, there's a lot of folks out there doing this,
Yeah. And hopefully, including
and some
Carl
of them
Mike.
actually not very seriously.
I mean I'm saying most aren't very serious.
Yeah, no.
Some people say we're not serious, but we actually are serious.
Yeah, well, yeah,
Yeah. We're in this to win it.
yeah,
We're gonna mock it. We're gonna rock it. We're gonna win it.
yeah.
All right.
All right,
Peace.
out.